sweet and spicy potatoes cooked not once, but twice. And that's what Kristen Numbers with Simplify Supper is baking for us today in the kitchen, and it smells good already.
Good, thank you so much. Yeah, you've had twice baked potatoes, like a russet potato. These are sweet potatoes, and you can see we didn't keep them in their form like you normally would in a little boat. This is smashed sweet potatoes.
And that's kind of what I noticed first. We're talking about sweet potatoes.
Yes.
And you can do so much with them.
And I love sweet potatoes, mainly because they're sweet. They're also quite healthy. I'm going to hand you this, and then I'm going to start putting, what we're doing is we're starting with the sauce. I have 4 tablespoons of butter in here. This is where the sweet and the spicy comes in on these potatoes. I'm adding a 1/4 cup of honey, and if you'll just keep stirring.
While this is going, because we want it to mix really well.
We want it to mix well, and we want it to kind of simmer. I'll add just a little bit of sea salt. And then this is a chili pepper, a large chili pepper that I have just seeded and then sliced up. So we'll let all of that come together and let that simmer for a minute. And while that does its thing, I'm going to show you these potatoes over here. So these are a great price at Smith's this week. They come, you know, just looking like this. The yams, the sweet potatoes are all right there together.
Are they the same thing, by the way?
They're not the same
They're not
thing,
the
but
same.
they're very closely
So
related.
this is called a sweet potato. I always called them yams.
Yeah, these are a little bit sweeter, so of course that's the one I go for. So I have, you know when you put holes all over them and then wrap them in foil, so I bake them at 400 for about an hour, and then they come out just like this.
They're super soft, right?
They're super soft. In fact, you can get your kids involved and just kind of smash them down,
fun.
tear them apart, irregular shape, it doesn't matter. You just want to get them all torn apart, and then you'll crank your oven up, excuse me, as you're doing this, turn the oven up to 450. Because these will go back in for just a few minutes. And that sauce that you're working on has come to a simmer, so what I'll do is turn the heat down, and you can move it off of there. And then, my hands are nice and messy, but we're going to add to that 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. So a little bit more sweetness, a little bit of acid to bind all of this together. And then once these are on your pan, ready to go, and you can see I lined it with foil. That's just to keep it clean and makes it a little bit easier to get that off onto the serving platter. So there we go. Those are kind of torn and smashed on there.
And I love it how it's not perfect. It's just whatever you come up with.
So it's fun. And this is one of those dishes. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on with my throat. This is one of those dishes that I love because it's simple enough to make like on a busy day, but it's elegant enough that you could do it for a special occasion, and it will last you all fall.
And it's hearty enough, and it's filling. But isn't this such a great idea for fall? This reminds me of fall.
I know, this is going to last you all the way through to Thanksgiving. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm pouring the majority of this sauce on here, but I'm keeping those peppers off. Because we're going to put this back in the oven, and you don't want the peppers to burn. So you'll put it back in the oven for about 15 minutes, and that will let this sauce turn into more of a glaze.
Smells good.
I got one on there, so I'll take that off. So you'd pop that back in the oven.
For what?
About 15 minutes at 450. When it comes out, you can put the rest of this sauce on, including the peppers if you want to. And then it looks just like this. You can serve it up. I like to dish it up for my kids to make sure they get enough. And the skins, you can see I left those on there because there's a lot of vitamins in the skin. And you can serve this alongside your favorite meat dish. Or
how spicy is that?
Do you like spicy?
Well, I do like spicy, but for the kids, you can always leave it off. Can you use bell peppers?
You could definitely leave it off. That's a great idea. You could use bell peppers. Exactly. For the peppers, for a little bit of crunch. You'll mostly taste the sweet, but there is that kick because we've infused the butter sauce with the peppers as you were simmering it. That's what it was doing.
I like that apple vinegar too. That gives it a little bit of a zing.
An extra sweetness and the zing. Yeah, that's why we don't use a regular vinegar.
And honestly, the peppers aren't that spicy.
No. They're not. They're a sweet pepper.
I think my kids could do this.
I think so too, yeah. And I'm not one that tends to really like the extra spicy, and I feel like this isn't extra spicy. So.
And this is perfect. Would you say this is a great appetizer to bring to a party or a function?
Yeah, and you know what? That's a really good point. This is something that travels well. So if you wanted to put it into a casserole dish from here, you could cover it up and it would stay warm. These potatoes stayed warm for well over an hour this morning. You want to, after you pull them out of the oven, you need to get them to where they're cool enough for you to actually smash down. They can travel like that, and then you can assemble it wherever you're going.
That's true, because it keeps it's like a convection, you know, in their own little container, and then you just mash them afterwards, and then the heat comes out.
Yeah, so it's so simple, but it looks like It looks like it took you a long time, but it really didn't.
Krista Numbers with Simplify Supper. You can find her anytime with great simple recipes, and also we'll have the recipe of this twice spicy baked potato on our website at goodforutah.com. Stay with us to see the top antique items designers love and how to incorporate them into your very own home. We're back after this.
Cabinets and mantle for Good Things Utah, provided by Maple Landing.